Welcome back to Tsumihoroboshi. I believe the last time where I left off, this is, oh, okay, so from what I remember on the top of my head, so Keiichi was having a private conversation with Mion, and he was asking her, like, if all of this stuff is true about the whole Yashiro-sama cult and all that, and Mion is like, well, all of this is just a make believe story and all that. So, and then according to Rena's perspective, she's all paranoid and all that. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. So I don't know what's gonna happen later on. Is like is Rena's gonna like is Keiichi's is gonna try to like calm Rena down and Rena go all crazy. Who knows? Anyway, let's continue reading. Hmm? Chie Sensei, take a look at this. Take a look? Is something wrong with the documents? Yes. The dates on the quotes and the invoice are left blank. They're supposed to put today's date here. Oh, they wanted to leave them blank. They said they couldn't put the same date on the quotes and the invoice. They're told to leave them blank by General Affairs. Okay then, and this. The phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Do you know which is the correct one? Oh, I didn't notice that. Hello, excuse me. Yes? What's the matter? The phone number on the invoice is different from the one in the envelope. Which one is correct? Oh, it's the one on the invoice. I used the old envelope we used to use at our former office. I'm sorry about that. I told our part-time to add a stamp with the new phone number, but I guess she forgot. I apologize for the confusion. Can you just erase the number? Oh wow. So the number that Rena tried to call was the NF it was the unavailable number that they don't even use anymore. Well, rest in peace on that one. Shit. All right. Yeah, we went through like the second page. So where were we at? Like chapter 9? Yeah, chapter 9. Holy shit. All right, let's look at new tips. Then we can continue on from there. Let's take out number 3. The danger of a culture bound syndrome lies in the fact that it can easily trigger delusional misidentification syndrome. That is to say, in the current case, every time the patient sees something trivial, she tries to interpret it as a curse, and it's believed that as a result of the accumulation of these events in an understandable form, a delusional system is created, ultimately leading to paranoia. Sometimes I had to turn up the desktop audio a bit. Furthermore, the patient is also exhibiting slight signs of a personality disorder. Of course, it's at a very mild level and it's not causing any hindrance whatsoever to the patient's daily life. It's common for even healthy individuals to have primary delusions in their daily lives, but they usually ignore it automatically without recognition since those delusions are nonsensical. However, there are cases where these delusions accumulate despite being incomprehensible. It largely depends on the particular characteristics of the individual, and it's believed that the patient shows relatively strong characteristics in this area. I believe you're very much aware that primary delusions are categorized into 3 different kinds. Delusional mood is the feeling of impending crisis without basis. Delusional intuition is the feeling of a sense of duty or goal without basis. Delusional perception is the feeling of a baseless cause against a baseless target. So there are three. What? So there's 3 primary delusions? Holy! I didn't even know that's even a thing. In the patient's case, it's believed that these incomprehensible delusions accumulated acted out simultaneously with the culture-bound syndrome, which triggered a delusional misidentification syndrome. Triggered a delusional misidentification. Man, that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? and it ultimately caused the incomprehensible delusion to become understandable by interpreting them as a curse. The comprehensible delusional system induces understandable secondary delusions, further strengthening the patient's delusional system with the passage of time. The delusional parasitosis mentioned earlier can be considered a secondary delusion. A common factor of all cases of paranoia is that even after an outbreak, they still appear perfectly normal with no change in their personalities. The patients are unaware of their own ailments, and due to their personal interpretations of their delusional system, there are many cases where patients arm themselves logically, making it extremely difficult for a third party to point out that they're having a delusion. Furthermore, although it may depend on the tendency of the delusions, there are also cases where a persecutory delusion turns into a pursuit delusion or a conspiracy delusion, resulting in the patient creating an imaginary enemy and taking up antisocial behavior. For example, there are cases where believers of a religious cult were deeply influenced by the cult founder's paranoid visions, which shifted the group into a conspiracy delusion that made them conduct antisocial behavior in the name of self defense. Although no such cases have been reported in Japan yet, it could very well happen in the near future. Fortunately, the patient hasn't reached that serious condition as of now. With proper treatment, she should be able to make a full recovery. Please make sure that her father also understands that this is not an unusual case, but something caused by the accumulation of a number of innocent factors that anyone could have. The patient can be treated only by deepening her bond with her father. As long as she has that bond, she can certainly be treated. For the reasons above, if the patient is to return to her home village, I strongly recommend that the patient continue to receive guidance from specialized medical institutions. Please excuse me for writing such a long letter. Thank you for reading this until the very end. And there you have it. I guess that is it for these list three. Unless there's more, but who knows. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, these are all the tips. Yeah, there's 10 at the moment. So where were we at? Yeah, we're at end of chapter 9. So let's continue on to chapter 10. Ooh, two digits. They were mowing the grass near the fence, which was probably a cover to monitor the surroundings. Oh, this is Rena. Rena's perspective, ain't that great? Just in case, I tried to escape from the school, but they must have been thinking that would happen only after school was over. They seemed to have no idea that I already noticed their plan and was trying to run away right at that very moment. I couldn't use the front gate, since they'd find me easily. I moved behind the school building, made sure nobody was around the curry garden, ran through it, and dashed into the forest. I walked through the dense undergrowth, stepping on dead wood and climbing over fallen trees. After walking through the forest for a while, I came to a small road. I know many back roads in this village because of our club activities, and that knowledge had finally come in handy. So what should I do now? I'm sure the girl already passed on my message to Chie sensei. Those men must be going crazy by now, knowing that I ran away. Well then, did anyone else talk to Ryugu-san before she left school? Everybody in the class looked at each other and shook their heads. Chie sensei looked a bit upset that Rena left school early without telling her in person. I mean, she could have said it in person, but I guess she's just so paranoid enough to the point that she's just, she was like, you know what, fuck it. Reina-san has been feeling sick these days. Meep. She left her bag here. What happened to her? I have a bad feeling about this. What? I think I know what's going on. I'm not sure, but I have a very bad feeling about this. She must have taken another ridiculous story seriously or something. I hope she won't do anything crazy. I hurried home. My father might be at his new job, or he might have gone shopping. He wasn't around when I got there. Now that they're on the move, I'm no longer safe in my house. And there's my goddamn phone going off. They're very dangerous people. Wait, so Keiji doesn't believe in this crazy story and all that, but apparently like I'm pretty sure it happened like few chapters ago or something that he believes in this stuff. So, but hey, different timeline, you know? They're very dangerous people. They're trained to be capable of attacking the Ministry of Construction, and they actually pulled off the kidnapping of the grandson of the minister. Locked doors and windows don't mean anything to them. In fact, it'd be like I was hiding in the box, which they could just open up to get at me. I could no longer stay at my home. It's very sad and very frustrating. I killed Rena and Tepe, and finally regained a peaceful life with my father. How could this happen to me? I remembered what Keiichi could told me before. It expressed my feelings better than anything. Takano-san left us a huge parting gift. Why did she give me those terrifying scrapbooks? Why did she tell me the secret of that unthinkable conspiracy? She got me into this. I didn't do anything. It's all Mio-san's fault. So, apparently so. But who was interested in her stories? I was. Who let her continue talking? I did. I did that out of curiosity. Who let the memories of Ibaraki return and told Mio-san about them? I did. I depended on Mio-san, hoping that she could somehow save me from the memories I've been trying to forget. I shouldn't have remembered anything about that bizarre incident. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten involved in that unthinkable conspiracy, and I could have just played around with my friends today. But even if I didn't know about the conspiracy, it still continued behind the scenes. See, it's odd, like that you can't even hear the music as much. Still continued behind the scenes. I would have been one member of the mob running in the panic, not knowing what's going on. On the day of a Yoshiro-sama's revival, I would have been just swallowed up in their conspiracy anyway. Would I be happier if I faced that day without knowing anything? Would I be happier if I struggled, knowing about it but ending up swallowed by it? If I'm going to end up the same way no matter what I choose to do, I'll fight. I'll choose to fight. Because that's how I seized my happiness before. When Rena invaded my home, seducing my father, I felt like it was the end of the world. I lived on the verge of despair every day. I thought that was the worst misfortune that could befall anyone. But the way things are going, it wasn't really that bad at all. I had only two enemies, Rena Mamiya and Tepe Hojo. I knew my enemies, and I knew how many they were. I lured them out one by one, and I attacked them in the dark. It was a very easy problem to solve. But what about this one? I don't know who my enemies are, and I don't know how many or how strong they are. Even the people I once trusted might be my enemies. I can't possibly be sure. It's totally different from the previous problem. This might be the end of the world. This time it really was the worst thing that could possibly happen. But is that really the case? With Rena, I felt like it was the end of the world, but I no longer think it was that bad. So this might turn out to be an easy problem to solve in the end, and I might be able to laugh about it someday. I know that day will come. I know it for sure. So I shouldn't think that this is the end of the world. Let's fight. I can fight. I can still struggle. I'd eat grass and drink mud if I had needed to. Well, that is that's a bit of a fighting words right there. I'm going to bet on the 1% chance, even though it's unbelievably small. If Mio-san didn't leave me the scrapbooks, I wouldn't even have been able to sit at the table to bet. I was lucky that I received the scrapbooks because they gave me the chance to choose my future. If I don't fight, they'll spread the terrible parasite. This village will face a great disaster. According to the legend, when the demons first came out of the swamp, people became demons right after being infected, and it happened while they were inside the village. These days, symptoms appear only when infected people leave the village, but that only applies to the later weak parasite. The original parasite can reenact the curse of Yashiro-sama even when the infected are in the village. The legend of Yashiro-sama will be reborn. Humans and demons will start killing each other, and Yashiro-sama will come down to pacify the disaster. That's what they want. They want people to prostrate themselves before that miracle, and only the people who truly worship Yashiro-sama will be saved. I see. I know their true intention now. They're going to reenact the legend of Yashiro-sama. After all, the villagers always say that Rika-chan is his reincarnation. The stage is all set. They're going to use the parasite as the curse. So how are they going to make it look like your Yashiro-sama came down to pacify everyone? I get it. They must have some kind of medicine, a specific cure for the parasite. When they recreated the stronger form of the parasite, they found a cure for it at the same time. They're going to use this cure to save only those people who believe in Yashiro-sama, and as a result, this village will only have those fervent believers. They're going to make themselves the absolute rulers of Hinamizawa. Wait, I still might be underestimating them. Are they going to carry out that horrifying act of bioterrorism only inside Hinamizawa? History proves that when their goal is to control others, people desire to spread their religion across a wide area. I'm sure that they conducted research not only to bring back the primitive form of the parasite, but also to overcome its weakness, namely that it only thrives in Hinamizawa. According to Miyo-san's research, the parasite doesn't like its host to be far from the region. Its weakness is distance. If they could extend the distance, if they could extend the area where it could live. I wonder how far along their research is. By now, the parasite might be able to live not only in Hinamizawa, but in Okonomiya as well. Or maybe even in the city, maybe the whole prefecture. It might be able to cover nearby prefectures as well. This is too serious to just call it a conspiracy. It's horrifying enough, and its scale large enough to call it a revolution. The day of revival is probably not far off. Cover nearby. It's like a freaking pandemic. She thinks it's the pandemic. The day of revival is probably not far off. I can tell by how they killed Miyo-san and by the extent of their pressure they're putting on me. They're trying to get rid of the small fish bones stuck in their throat by any means because that day is coming ever closer. I'm the only one who can stand up against their revolution. I can't trust anybody. I think I can trust Keiichi-kun, but no one else. Mi-chan is out of question. I can't trust Rika-chan either. Satoko-chan and Rika-chan stick together like super glue, so I can't trust Satoko-chan either. I can't trust any adults. I can't trust anybody. No one is on my side. I have to stand up against them alone. The clock is ticking towards that day, and the ticking noise made me frustrated. How should I fight against them? What should I do? I needed time to think. I needed a place, a safe area where I could concentrate on thinking. Fortunately, I had such an area already. My hideout at the garbage dump. Nobody ever goes there, so it's safe. Even if they found out about that place, I'm familiar with the surroundings. I know escape routes and places where I can hide. But it has a big shortcoming as a hiding place. It's not hard to imagine what that is. I don't have any stock of food there. That's why I came home. I opened one of my father's drawers and took out his cash box. The contents haven't changed since the last time I looked inside. There were many new 10,000 yen bills in the cash box. I took them all. I couldn't tell how many bills there actually were, but it looked to be about 80 of them. This should be plenty. If I evaded them long enough to use all of this money, that would mean that I did pretty well. Plus, I might use it to buy someone off. You can never have too much money, especially in a situation like this. I didn't take the bank book. If they were waiting in ambush at the bank, I'd be done for. what a what a way to predict. It's too risky to withdraw money at the bank. I grabbed my backpack. I took the key from my bicycle. I put everything I think would be convenient to have into the backpack. I didn't care if it got heavy. I chose what was necessary to carry around later in my hideout. If there ended up being something I didn't need, I could leave it there. I looked at the clock. It had been 30 minutes since I came home. I stayed here too long. I rushed out of the house. I went to a small convenience store and bought as much sweetbread and canned food as I could fit in my backpack. An old lady was at the register, probably suffering from dementia. She showed no interest in the extraordinary amount of food I was buying. But as soon as the manager of the store checked that sale that night, he'd find out. The idea didn't bother me because I could no longer walk around the village in the daylight anyway. My backpack was full, and the cans hurt my back as I walked. But that didn't bother me either. I got to my hideout, still carrying the heavy backpack. I organized the stuff I bought. It was very heavy to carry, but now I had sufficient food. It looks like she's in the car, so she could just like. Actually, no, the car is probably like broken down, so it doesn't really matter. Sufficient food. The abandoned construction office still has running water, so I could get some from there. I wanted to get some vegetables, but in a situation like this, I could hardly complain. After I organized things, I took out the scrapbooks I hid here and put my brain into top gear, flipping through the pages. So now what? How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I needed to calm down, stay cool, but also to think fast. There might not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry. But I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go. But now I don't know where I should go to or what I should do. Now that I come to this point, I should tell Oishi-san everything. I mean, I don't think I highly doubt it. It's highly likely he's an enemy, but that doesn't matter anymore. If it was true, I'd just declare war. But if he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy, poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I'd have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in this village that stands at a place where it's hard for people to spot you. That phone booth. It stands in the middle of nowhere where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather around the light when it's dark, and it's not a pleasant place to go to. But I can't think of any other public phones I could use to contact Oishi-san without being seen. Oh yeah, there's only public phones, and no like. Okay, I highly doubt using a cell phone would actually do anything considering it's in the middle of the village. So that being seen, actually I couldn't recall because they're on the countryside. So that being seen, even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Oishi-san has been holed up in that station since Mio-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him any time. I have the number for the direct line to his office too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. After I thought about what I could do, I found there was something I wanted to confirm. Something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. I made my decision and left the hideout. Rena's father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell. Police officer! Here! Over here! A police officer from the Hinamizawa police station had shown up. Having rushed to get there, he was breathing hard. Huh, huh. I hope you didn't wait too long. Please tell me what happened. I know I locked the door before I left, but when I came back, the door was left open and he led the police officer into the house. And look, my cash box was left open in my room. Is this how you found it? You didn't touch anything? I didn't touch the cash box itself because I thought they might have left fingerprints. Oh, I think this is the text color mean this is like Rena's father in conversation with the cop. I did touch the contents a little bit to check what was missing. And what did they take? They didn't take my bank books or my personal seal, but they took the cash. They didn't take your bank books or personal seal, huh? You were lucky. Professional thieves today don't take bank books because they know how easily they can get caught by using them. This might be a professional cat burglar. Cat burglar. Or, or his daughter that just takes the cash just so she could just run out and escape. The, Instead of taking the cash box with him, he opened it here. He has to be a pro. So, how much cash was in there? I haven't counted for a long time, but I believe there were about 110,000 yen bills. Ah, I see. Did you tell anybody that you had that much cash in here? No, I didn't, but they probably knew I had kept some cash in the house. They? Poor they. Can you tell me more about them? Well, it's kind of an embarrassing story. Her name is Rena Mamiya, and just then the phone rang. Oh, excuse me. I'll just go get that. Please give me a minute. He grabbed the phone. Hello? This is the Ryugu residence. Ah, hello. This is Maibara. Is Rena-san there? No, she hasn't come back from school yet. She hasn't? Um, I'm very sorry, but I'm in the middle of something right now. Can you call back later? I'm sorry. Bye. He hung up after that. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh shit. I can't even tell if it's pink, dark pink or not. I guess it's like it's red text. I'll just call it that. I was stunned. It didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It was hard to find this place at all because it perfectly blends in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged as if nothing had happened. That's why at first I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stick a shovel in the ground. I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I've buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all. Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. Wait, how deep I buried them? I know I didn't bury them deeper than this. I wasn't expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to do that to kill some time. I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing, so I came here to check if the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure that they were still there, and I feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. This was such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out into a cold sweat. What's going on? What's going on? I don't need to calm down to think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it and for what purpose? Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here and did they dig them out after we left? What if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It was before the Watanagashi festival. So if the police did find the corpses, when Oishi contacted me, he had to know about Rina and Tepe, but he didn't tell me anything about them. I don't think he was hiding anything on purpose either. So that means the police don't know about Rina and Tepe yet. Then why are the corpses gone? That would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. Oh, one of them is snitching. It really makes you wonder, like, who dug that out in the first place. The first person who comes to mind is Mion. I mean, the Sonozaki family, but I can't think of a reason why they would do that. The murder of Rena and Tepe has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. They must want to stay as far away from this case as possible. Why would they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a joker even though you'll lose if you have the joker by the end of the game. Interesting metaphor. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was club president? The joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier. But it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time I realized that they are one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a joker, as a wild card. They're trying to use them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family is trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of the most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I can no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. They're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rena and Tepe. If the police started seeing me as a suspect, they'd never listen to my story. They could have been my last hope, but this will certainly turn them against me. But I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mia and Sonozaki helped to bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Oishi tonight, and I'm going to ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Oishi will believe me. This is a gamble, and my chance of winning is very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the Joker, the bags with the corpses inside. I'm impressed with Mion. That's just what I expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on, but to Mion, this is like a board game, taking place across Hinamizawa itself. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time, that's become the literal truth. There could be the only one reason why they're trying so hard to drive me into a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed I was just a little girl with no power running about in confusion, but my enemy must not be thinking that way. If they didn't think I was a threat to them, they wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a joker, but so do I. The joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that it could break their plot into pieces. That's why they're so eager to find me. A cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. So this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. I found out about the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. I felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I don't need to be here any longer. They know this place. They might come here to find me. It's not safe for me to stay here for long. I decided to go back to my hideout. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. My father was talking to a police officer. I strained to catch their conversation. Yes, she usually parks it there. My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle. Okay. Please let us know whenever your daughter comes back. We'll try to find her as well. Michan, you're good. Did you already play your Joker? Mion always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation and wins. It seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Oishi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. No, that's why I'm going to talk. That's why I'm going to talk to Oishi. He sees the Sonozaki family as his enemy, and he's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was part of their trap from the very beginning. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side, but their jokers are actually giving me hope. If Oishi is one of them, it would be too early to play their joker. Oishi isn't one of them. That's why they got the joker, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait. That might be a trick to make me think that way in order to make me trust Oishi. When Mion gives me two choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. So when you think about a choice too much, you're already in their trap. I'm going to do as I planned. I'm going to call Oishi after it gets dark. If he's going to become my ally, we can talk about the future. And if he isn't, that, I realized, was what I had to think about before it got dark. Well, things starting to pick up a bit more. Oh, I guess, yeah. No, don't worry about calling so late. I don't get paid overtime, but I'm on duty as long as I'm here. I started the conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Oishi is one of them. If he's their pawn, he'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not, and I'd have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Oishi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story, and I have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have but a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start. I told you a little bit about this before, but I think somebody's following me. Are you sure about that? Yes. I wasn't sure before, but I thought it was just my imagination, but things have changed over the past few days, but now I'm certain. What do you mean, things have changed? A few cars have been following me. One of them is a white van with four men in it. They disguise themselves as gardeners, but they're actually attack units. Attack units? You mean the Sonozaki family's death squad? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's them. They came to my school today. I managed to escape from them in time, but it was very close. But why would they do that? Do they think you're trying to sniff out their connection to Tamataki's murder? Oishi hasn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. It sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tamataki's murder. But as I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction. Well, to tell you the truth, I just heard some bad news. I wanted to confirm it a bit more before letting you know, but we did promise to share new information with each other. So this is what I heard. It seems like the Sonozaki Corps in Okonomiya are on the move. Are you talking about the Sonozaki Corps? Yes. You might find it a bit of a shock. They ordered their green hordes to find a certain person. A certain person? My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that. Are they? It's hard to believe, but you're the person they're looking for. They're trying to find you. I just got this information, so I don't know the reason why, but they're mentioning your name. So you believe my story that my life is in danger? Yes, it matches with my information perfectly. Ryugu-san, what's going on? Do you have any idea? What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Oishi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a question. What about you, Oishi-san? Do you have any idea? I can't think of anything. No, I'm afraid I don't. It's hard to believe that the Sonozaki Corps are using their resources to capture an individual like you. But it's true. It came from a reliable source. It might be the Sonozaki family who are after me, not just the Sonozaki Corps. Very unusual for them to take action like this. They only do this when one of their people runs away with their money, or something like that. It's usually about some kind of trouble within the group. They've never done things like this to an honest person like you. Well, I'm honored to be the very first one, but I need you to do something other than just tell me that they've never done this before. I understand, Ryugu-san. Please calm down. Isn't it your turn to tell me something now? What do you mean? Like I said, the Sonozaki Corps don't take action like this often. They might be under some kind of misunderstanding, but still, it's very unusual that they would do something like this. Are you sure you have no idea? No words. You could have gotten them confused about something without you knowing it. My guess is that you sniffed around the Sonozaki family and found out about a secret of theirs, or they think you did. You can't lead them to mobilize like that by doing nothing. What you must have been, what you did must have been obvious to them. Are you sure you have no idea? Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out. This is it. Make your decision, Reina Ryugu. Maybe they're after me because I have Mio-san's scrapbooks. Mio-san? Mio Takano? Her scrapbooks. What do you mean? If he was my enemy, he wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. But his voice remained steady, and it didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks. Well, I met Mio-san at the library a few days before she was murdered. We talked and got along well, so she let me borrow some of her scrapbooks in which she wrote about her studies. Scrapbooks? Her studies? Hmm. Yes. Mio-san was studying the history of Hinamizawa. She summed up her findings in those scrapbooks. I think when they killed Mio-san, they found out that some of her scrapbooks were missing, and also that she gave them to me. They're after the scrapbooks? Ryugu-san, what in the world are you talking about? She collected all her research about Hinamizawa and his ancient past as Onikafuchiya into these scrapbooks. She wrote about the origin of Yoshiro-sama's cult in them too. The origin of the cult of Yoshiro-sama? You mean the story about the man-eating demons? Yes, in her research, she's discovered a very important secret about Yoshiro-sama. The secret was extremely blasphemous for the people who worship him. I see. Those people, the most devout believers, couldn't accept the result. The most devout believers couldn't accept the result of her research. Oishi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he spoke. They killed Mio-san and they're trying to get at her scrapbooks. They weren't sure that I had them, so they followed me to find out, but I think they changed their plans yesterday. They're now trying to kill anyone they think is suspicious. I see. That doesn't sound good at all. I'm going to arrange a security detail for you, and let me take a look at the scrapbooks too. I might be able to find some clues about her murder. Ah. No, I mean, they might have pawns inside the police force. So don't worry about me. I can look after myself. Same with the scrapbooks. They're going to try to destroy them, even if they were kept at the police station. You may be right. If the Sonozaki corpse is chasing after you because of an order from the head of the Sonozaki family, that means our enemy is the Sonozaki family itself. So, I'm afraid I really can't guarantee that we don't have a traitor among us. That's what I'm saying. Please don't worry about me. But I have a favor to ask you. It's very important. Go ahead. What is it? According to Mio-san's research, there's a horrifying conspiracy at work in the shadows of Hinamizawa, and it's about to be carried out in the near future. Yet the conspiracy? What's that about? I got tense all of a sudden. If I tell him everything, it's going to sound like a big lie. I should leave out the bizarre sounding parts for now. It'd actually make the story more credible. Fanatical worshippers of Yoshiro-sama are the ones behind the conspiracy. Since the Meiji era, belief in a Yoshiro-sama has slowly disappeared, so they're trying to revive the majesty of a Yoshiro-sama that the people of Onikafuchi once worshipped. Go on, I'm listening. I'm just writing this down. According to Mio-san's research, the origin of the legend of the Yoshiro-sama lies in a primitive endemic disease. People feared this endemic disease and called it the curse of Yoshiro-sama. And then someone like a doctor treated the disease and was then worshipped by the villagers as a Yoshiro-sama himself. The village was then under his control. Oh, I see. That's interesting. Go on. The endemic disease was caused by a parasite unique to this region, but it became weaker with every generation, and now it doesn't do any harm to people as you can imagine. To them, a harmless endemic disease means no curse of Yoshiro-sama. No curse means no savior. They can't keep this sanctity of Yoshiro-sama like that. And to revive the sanctity of Yoshiro-sama means they have to revive the endemic disease, right? That's right. They want to recreate the legend of Yoshiro-sama in order to make Yoshiro-sama a deity again. That's why they're trying to create the original parasite, because it can bring back the more powerful strain of the endemic disease. The true intention of the series of the mysterious deaths was to test the results of their research, and now they finally succeeded, reenacting the maggots disease with Tamataki-san. It took them 5 years, but they managed to bring the parasite back to its original power. What the hell? That's exactly what I would think or say. Their goal is to spread the parasite, use the cure they developed to save only those people who believe in Yoshiro-sama, and create for them a paradise. Are you sure it's all true? The scrapbooks say that most of the residents of Hinamizawa are infected by the parasite. There's medical evidence of its existence too. I can't believe it. Damn it. That hag Oreo's on death's door already. Yet she can't just cross the stakes on her own. This is indiscriminate terrorism. What the hell? The original parasite could only survive around Hinamizawa, but there's a high probability that they've improved it to be able to survive in a wider area. It's going to destroy not only Hinamizawa, but also Okinomiya, or even the entire city, or the entire prefecture. Damn it. What should we do? Who's behind all this? It's the three families. Most likely the Sonozaki family's in charge, but I'm not sure if Oreo's is the leader or not. I can only refer to them as they. They. I also have no idea how far this thing reaches. Do you know where they're doing all this research? I can shut it down. I don't know, it's not in the scrapbooks either. Do you have any idea? It must be a big facility to do that kind of research. You can use a garage for remodeling guns or something like that, but when it comes to parasites, I don't think that would be enough. Mio-san was a nurse at the Irie Clinic. Do you think that could be it? I always thought it was a bit too big and fancy for a small village like Hinamizawa. The Irie Clinic. They need a specially designed facility with advanced airtight containment, among other considerations, to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with a clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliche. At first I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center, but that actually sounds a little too unrealistic. Anyway, I don't know where it is, so please find that out. Can't you just raid every suspicious place at once? As you know, we need a warrant for that kind of thing. There's a way I can get one even after doing a raid, but I need conclusive evidence. That it was actually the research building in question in order to do that. Oishi is a police officer. If he's going to work as a police officer, he has to follow their rules. Well, I'm not surprised. But they really are planning bioterrorism. There has to be a reason why they killed Mio-san so quickly. I think the reason is because their day of revival isn't far off. Okay, I understand. I'll try to do what I can. With an unthinkable plan like this, I imagine it'd be difficult to keep all the Sonozaki family members on their side. I'm sure there are some who are secretly against it. I'll try to make contact with those people. Don't worry, I'm very good at things like this. Oishi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police before, but Oishi's positive reaction is very reliable. He's what you might call an outlaw. Oishi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. It's very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident actually does occur, it's going to be a big disaster. Okay, I think I've hit my limit from here. Yeah, we recorded for 50 minutes, so let's save here. So next part, let's find out more during this phone conversation. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later. Have a good one.